Well, hello, I'm David Freeman with Is That Really in the Bible? Did you know that there are about 450,000 churches in America? There's about 650,000 preachers in America. And you know, it's troubling to me as a minister. I never could wrap my mind around why any man would want to get into the ministry, because I never did. I never did desire that. I never wanted to be a preacher. I don't have a lot of respect for preachers. And in fact, I just visited a man, and it was funny because he said, you know, I don't like preachers. This guy told me, he said, I don't like preachers. And I said, you know, I don't either. I don't like preachers either. I really don't. But as I look at the Bible example, most of the prophets of old, the men that God used, they were used against their will. You have to wrap your mind around this. Jonah ran from the presence of God. You know, they were used against their will. Elijah, probably another good example of that. They were meant, and you don't see that today. You know, if you want to preach, and I've met a lot of men that wanted to preach. They wanted to get behind the pulpit and preach. I've met a lot of people like that. If you want to preach, if you feel qualified to preach, that is basically ample proof of why you should not be in the ministry. If you feel like you're qualified and you feel like, you know, I'm a man of God and I got something to say, that is ample proof that you should not even be in the ministry. You know, today we have something called occupational ministry. It's, you know, it's an easy job. It's not very hard, and people love to get into that. I read the story just recently about, you know, voices of unbelief behind pulpits, where all kinds of men are getting into the ministry, and they're atheists. They don't even believe in God, and yet they've chosen the ministry because they like to sing, they like to get up behind the pulpit and speak, they like the recognition they get, but they don't even believe in God. Yeah, voices of unbelief behind the pulpits. Look it up. Tyler, Texas newspaper. You can find it on the internet. Voices of unbelief behind pulpits. Amazing article to read. Now, when I think of the ministry, I think of men begging for money. I think, often I think it's sort of comical, you know, sort of like a comedy club almost that you would go to when I see some of the foolish behavior on TV. I think of people knocking someone down, you know, like maybe the Benny Hinn's or whatever. You know, that's how you heal someone. You just knock them down. Never made any sense whatsoever. Recently, I was listening to the radio and I come across some preaching. I thought, well, I'm going to try to discipline myself to listen to this. And this guy I don't know what he was talking about, but he said, do you want to hear me talk like Donald Duck? And he started talking like Donald Duck. And I just cut my radio off and I said, I can't take it. Preaching has ceased to be relevant. It's not relevant anymore. Why does it even exist anymore? Preaching, that is. Why? Is it that people are that gullible? Well, in a way, I think the answer may be yes. People are just that deceived and gullible.